Welcome to AfriCulture, hosted by yours truly, Makafui Larba, also known as Nicole, where we dive into the amazing traditions and vibrant and rich cultures of Africa. Let's celebrate the beauty of our heritage together. This is AfriCulture. Let's get it started.
Hey, Davi Sabina, it's been a while. How have you been? Have you heard about Siena 2025 in Dallas? It's going to be the biggest event of the year.
Oh, Pastor Martin, so good to see you. I've heard some buzz about it, but tell me more. What makes it so exciting?
Oh, where do I even begin? It's a 4-day celebration filled with culture, networking, and unforgettable experiences. Plus, they've made registration super easy.
Really? How do I sign up?
It's so simple. Just go to www.dallasaves.org. Again, www.dallasaves.org and pick your package. You can even add a $60 excursion to explore Dallas in style.
That sounds amazing. But what about hotel accommodations?
Oh, no worries. The convention registration is linked to the hotel reservation. When you register, just select if you need a hotel and the dates you'll be staying.
Oh, that is so awesome. And I don't need 2 lanes?
Yes, you will get an email from the Sheraton DFW Hotel with your reservation details and a credit card authorization form to finalize it. And the best part, you won't be charged for your room until you check out.
Oh, this is really convenient. Anything else I should know?
Yes, as if the package wasn't already great, they just announced that everyone who registers now gets a complimentary buffet-style American breakfast at the hotel.
Oh, no way. That's such a great deal. I don't want to miss out. I'm registering right away before I forget.
That's the spirit. Let's lock in our spots and make Siena 2025 unforgettable.
Welcome to AfriCulture right here on Siena TV and Chatting with Nicole at the same time. I thank you all for joining this afternoon. Welcome. Excuse my voice. Something is attacking my voice for a few weeks now, but I hope you can hear me well. You know, just because my voice is not where it needs to be, we don't take break. We are still here. So I welcome you for joining me today. Thank you for being here with us. It is AfriCulture, Chatting with Nicole on Siena TV. I want to remind you, if you have not subscribed to Siena TV, subscribe right now. If you have not subscribed to Chatting with Nicole, I want you to subscribe right now. You know, I am just so grateful that we are breathing today. We get another chance. It is Pentecostal Sunday. Those of you who are celebrating Pentecostal Sunday, happy Pentecostal Sunday to you all. Around the world. Thank you for joining me. If you have the link, share it with somebody to join us. Let me know where you are joining from. Let me know of your thought. If you have any questions, let me know. But share with somebody, invite somebody to join us today. Because today I am going to be solo. Like last time, I was talking about, I am here because I told you that I have some topics that I kind of put aside and I want us to discuss today. So I thank you very much for joining me. I want you to be interactive because I want to hear from you. Oh, fofonye dadanyo no vinyo miawezon kaka miawe vale java odo miawe va doge miawe java odo miawe va java odo mdak pena mi be mi le kame kudum ne mi le kame kuma na manya fike mi joindre toi na me dem le kame wa mi invité à me bene ba joindre kudomi mi partager lien ne mi le abonné na Siena TV Chatting with Nicole a mi no abonné ne mia no kame mia pompo mia be nyere kale pompo voa mulejbe mia cha mia no so mia be question adoda gamea mi la west bebe na asen kankan ne. Okay, enyon dak pena mi be mi le kame dak pena Yehowa be kplo mi va mo aji egbea yem so nu si anu do Yehowa ba lo mi dak pena mi egbe am jado English wa mi nyang glo be na mi la kpla English mi bla English a chanvire wa ne mi do question a mi poser matin do e na mi matin répondre na mi la le begbe me ne mi dia. Okay? Enyon dak binami. Oh, my brothers and sisters, I thank you very much for joining me. Like I said, I'm putting everything in God's hands right now. If you're online, I want you to let me know where you're joining from so that I know who you are. I can appreciate you and thank you for joining me, for your support. Today, I'm going to be solo because I have some questions. I have some things I want to address, and I wish this was like a live audience so that we can have a conversation. But unfortunately, we are going to do this this way. So that's why if you're on watching, I want you to ask questions. I want you to shout out. Let me know your thought. Let me know what you're thinking. If you agree or disagree, if you have anything to add about what I'm saying, I want you to, let me know. But before we go into it, I want to remind everybody, you just saw the commercial, Sienna 2025. You don't want to miss it in Dallas, Texas. It is a huge one. I want to personally be able to see you in Dallas 2025, Sienna 2025 in Dallas. So I don't want you to miss it. I want you to start making plans right now if you have not already. So make plans so that we can all meet on Labor Day weekend, Sienna 2025, so that those of you who never been, I want you to come so that I can see what we've been talking about. Those of you who have been, I want you to join so that we can carry on. All right. So I'll see you in Sienna 2025. But until then, today, I want to talk about our children and our wives. So today, I want us to talk about children because, first of all, I'll put this aside. I said, welcome to Africulture, where this is where we connect, with our heart and with our culture, our African heritage, our home. Today I want to explore how we raise our children, grounded in African values, and how to uplift and honor the sacred role of our African wives in preserving, our tradition in this modern world, because we know how it is. We know how it is. So in the world that we are living in right now, it is moving so fast. It's changing so fast. How do we hold, our very sacred wisdom that we have, of our ancestors? How do we do that? How do we pass on the strength, respect, and identity that we define, that really defines us? I am always so proud of my, tradition. And it is something that how do you define us? And how do we do that? How do we preserve it? All right. So, and I want to type on, I can't discuss all of it today. I can't, it's just so much. And I'm going to ask Tugby when he comes on, I'm going to table some of them to ask him. And what I also want to know, I want to also share biblical insight that, really celebrate the beauty of African motherhood and marriage and legacy, whether you are a parent, a wife, passionate about culture, preservation. This conversation is for you, all of you, everyone who's watching this conversation, it is for you. Remember, I don't normally just like go, line to line and, perfectly, have an agenda I have to follow. I just go with the fly. So because I want this to be interactive. All right. So, and I know you guys are expert out there. If you're expert, I want you to chime in. But I just want to talk about how we are raising our children, abroad, how we are raising them, because there's so many examples that I have and so many things that are happening the way we are raising our children. And I just want us to have that conversation, because sometimes you don't know until somebody points it out. You don't know until you see it somewhere. You don't know how things are going. You don't know how you're doing until somebody points it out. So I want us to have that conversation today. All right. So I want you to be open-minded and let's be respectful. If you have any comments, just share and let us have a conversation. But I think our African tradition, African culture, it is one of the sacred things that I just hold so dearly, because of the way I'm raised, that I was able to survive in this country. At 16, I came to this country at 16 years old. All right. I have no parents. So, with my African, the way I was raised, my root, the things that I have gone through, is the reason why I survive and I continue to survive today. So my African culture and the way I was raised and everything that was rooted to me, it is very, very important to me. So I think it is something that we cannot let die. We cannot allow it to die. Okay, so raising our children, so raising our children in our African traditions. First thing is the examples that I see, because I go to events and I go, see children. How do we raise our children? We have to respect. The first thing I want to talk is teaching respect to our children. Okay, so I'm not attacking anyone. I'm not saying your children, you are not teaching your children how to respect. But I want to say that the first thing on my list is, are we teaching our children, respect? What I mean is respecting elders, respecting anyone who's older than they are, the way we are raised. Because back home, we respect. You can never call your father by his name. And I see our African children calling their parents by their name, and I'm shocked. I am shocked. I know they don't mean nothing, bad about it, because we are living in a modern world. But when I hear it, it bothers me. I see our, African children come to you without even saying good morning, hey, hi. When I see that, it bothers me. So sometimes if I know the person, I talk to them. If I know that we have a close relationship, I talk to them. Are we teaching our children respect? To call elders by Mrs., Mr., by their title? Are we teaching our children that? Are we teaching our children that before you speak to somebody, you need to say hello, good morning, ma, good morning, auntie, good afternoon, not hi, because they're not friends in school. So we have to teach our children how to respect elders. We have to teach them how to behave. We have to do that because that is our root. That's what will separate them from other children. And when they're doing that, other children will also follow. Other children will also learn from them. So are we teaching our children respect? Because it's very, very important to do that. Even though we don't live in Africa, even though we don't live, in a village, we still need to teach our children this respect. It is very, very important. That sets us apart. That is something that we cannot let go. So think about it. And community values. Are we teaching our children community values? When our children nowadays, when you're doing association event and stuff, they don't want to go. They don't want to move. They just want to stay in their gadget. They want to go to their friend's house instead. So we have to teach them the value, and we have to teach them community value, the value that we have in community. Back home, our neighborhood, raise your children. And somebody dies or somebody having a party, we all go there to support. There's a video I'm going to show you guys. When somebody's building a house, everybody, the whole neighborhood is there to help. So those are the things that are value in community. So are we teaching our children what the association? Yes, we're not in Africa, but when we are doing association gathering and group gathering, community gathering, we have to teach our children the importance, the value of community. Are we doing that? So think about it. We need to do that, and are we teaching our children our identity? You know what I mean? Do they know their identity? Do they know where they come from? Do they know, where they really come from? And what does that mean? You ask some people, they have no idea, because I always get interested when I go to places. I want to talk to children, and I want to ask their names, the meaning of their names, where they come from, their parents. I always want to know because I'm intrigued to know how much they know. So are we teaching our children their identity, their own identity, your identity, the father, the mother's identity? Are we teaching them that? So think about that, and the role of elders. Are we teaching them the role of, your elders, the role of our elders? Are we teaching them? We are pouring them into our children. Do they know all of this? Hey, and then I have to talk about the language. Your children, are they speaking your language? That is one thing. When I hear some children, some African children, when you ask them, they can understand, which I love, right? I love it, because if you understand it, then you cannot go back home and let's say that they are somewhere that they're not supposed to be, and somebody plotting against them. You know what I mean? Somebody's plotting, or put something in her drinks, put something in his drink, or plotting to do something bad about that to them. They will understand. When they go back home to their grandmothers, and even if they can't speak, the grandmothers speaking to them, they can understand. So are we teaching them our language? Even if they're not speaking it to you, we have to continue to speak in our language. We have to speak to teach them our language. Even if they're responding in English, it is still a good thing. That means they are listening. They understand. So you have to force your children. I'm not saying physically force, but we have to force our children to speak our language. Do they know? Do they know the father's language? Because some people have a different, we have a different languages. The mother have a different language. The father have a different language. Are we teaching our children both languages? Do they know what it comes from? Do they know because sometimes you want to party somewhere. You want to say something to your child that you don't want other people to hear. Your child has to understand. You want them to go do something that maybe something that you don't want other people to hear. You have to teach them that language. There has to be some kind of secret, something that you have to have that conversation with her. It's very special. So are we teaching our children our language? If you're not, I want you to start today. Start talking to them no matter how they feel. Continue to talk to them. And last but not least, before last, it is the names. When you give your children, you give them these names, they like the names. Do they know the meaning of their names? If you see some of my videos, I always ask them, when I see them, what is the meaning of your name? So I always ask that. So your children, do they know the meaning of their names? They need to know the meaning of their name, because a lot of them are rejecting their names because they don't understand it. But if you tell them what that name means, where it comes from, they will love it. I hope it's not like something terrible, but if because most of our name means something important, it comes from somewhere. So if they know, then they will start to love it. And then when they ask them at school, when they actually translate and explain what their names are, then people start to see it differently. I encouraged a young lady, her name, they were making fun of her. But then when she was doing a presentation, and I was like, choose to explain where your name comes from. And when she did that, people changed. They weren't making fun of her name anymore, because her name was something important. It had weight. And when she understood, she explained it to other people, they warmed up to that name. They're not making fun of it anymore. So explain the meaning of the names that you give your children. And if they were rejecting it, I promise you, they're going to come to like it. They're going to come to love it. They're going to be proud to explain it to somebody else. Okay. And then our culture practices. How are we teaching our children our cultural practices? All of this is cultural practices, right? Are we teaching them when we are watching things on YouTube or TikTok or on TV, or you take them to events? Are you explaining those things? What does it mean? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to say this? Why do people have to, the certain way that we do things, that we greet others? Are we teaching our children that? So, again, I just want to remind us of how important, how we are raising our children, how we can, keep our tradition, our culture going, pouring it in our children, because they are our legacy. When we are long gone, they are the one who is going to carry it. And we don't want our African culture. The white men have been trying since day one to destroy it. Because they know that this is the sacred, this is the golden, our tradition is golden. So I just want to, I want us to have this conversation. So I want you to think about this. I want you to think about this with your children, with your nieces, your nephews, and don't allow your children to be calling, even if your stepfather, they cannot call their stepfather by their names, because that's not how we are raised. We know better than that. We can be doing things like that. So I just wanted to put this in our mind today. How are we balancing tradition with modern education today? How are we balancing? I'm going to say it again. I'm not repeating myself. How are we balancing, tradition, our African, tradition with modern education today? Because imagine what they are being taught at school. is completely opposite of what our traditions are today. So if we don't pour this into our children at home, they're going to be lost, even lost than they are. So they have to know that it is not, life is not just, I'm not just everything I'm getting from school. They need to have this and carry it with them when they grow up. They need to have this pride of where they come from, so that when somebody is abusing them, somebody is being bullied, they won't take it sitting down. If our children really knows the value of where they come from, who they are, when they are bullying them, they're not going to take it, laying down. They're going to fight. They're going to stand tall because they know where they come from. They know the value of being an African. They know the value of their parents. So I am saying this is like a free, this is a free, session that we are having here. So I really want to encourage all of us to pour in, to think about how we are raising our children, in our African tradition. We have to make sure, how are we balancing tradition, our African tradition, with the modern education today? So it is very, very important that we do this. So I want to hear from you. If you are watching, I want to hear from you wherever you're watching from. I want to know what you think. I want to know how you feel. If you have anything else to add, I want you to let me know. But I just want this to be something, a reminder for us, because it is very, very important that we don't lose it. It is very, very important that we don't let go. It is very, very important that we don't let our children, apart from this. And I have to use a biblical, I don't want to put anything else without using a biblical, spiritual, anything biblical to support this in parenting. Okay. So if you look, I have to go and search for a proverb. So if you look at Proverb 22:6, it says, train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he's old, he will not depart from it. That's what I'm saying. So it's not just tradition. I'm just not saying this to say it. It is even in the Bible that we need to train our children the way they should go. And when they grow old, they'll keep those traditions. It applies to our traditions. It's not just the biblical thing. It applies to our tradition. When we train them and root our roots into them, when they grow up, they'll keep it. They'll be proud. They'll stand tall. They will want to share and celebrate where they come from. All right. They will never let go. The second in Deuteronomy 6:17, it says, these commandments that I give you today are to be on your heart. Impress them on your children. So the things that we have been impressed on, the things that our parents, our grandparents has put in us, we have to impress them in our children as well. We don't want to die with it. We want to leave it to our children. We want to impress it in our children. So it is important that we do that. And the last but not least is Ephesians 6:4. It says, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in discipline and structure of the Lord. You don't just start using word and then getting them upset. And then, no, you train them with respect. You don't be angry. When you are angry, calm down and teach them. When you're teaching them with anger and all of that, they're not going to get it. They're not going to take it. So we need to bring them, we have to teach our children with discipline. All of these, our African discipline, it is a golden thing to have. So I just wanted to make sure that I supported with some biblical, passages, so that to support it and say that we are not just talking about it. It is not just in our tradition. It's not just talking. It's not just, it's not about, culture. It is about our life. Our whole life, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you believe in, it is applying to us. Everything that I said here applies to all of us. Okay, so that's our children. And one of the reasons why I'm saying this, like I said, I have a lot of reasons, I have examples. I have a friend of mine, and they know I'm gonna be using this. And her child is in high school. She graduated from high school. And she had a job in one of the fast food restaurants, summer job. And her child was fired. She got a job and got fired the same day. And she was telling me the reason why her daughter got fired is because she did not know how to wash dishes. Hear me. The child graduating from high school did not know how to wash dishes. Hey, you know how I felt. Hey, you know, I'm an African mother. When I heard that, I was like, what? Your child, your young child, who is a woman now, does not know how to wash dishes? She said no. She said because she never trained her child. She never taught her child how to wash dishes. Can you imagine that? An African mother having an African child, almost a high school, graduated from high school, but that child does not know how to wash dishes. Think about that for a second. I don't know if it's a woman watching me right now, men watching me. Just think about that for a second. I want to know where you guys are. I don't want to know your comments. If you're watching, I really want to know what you're thinking about this. All right. So a mother, her child was fired because she did not know how to wash dishes, because she got the job and they signed her to wash dishes. She did not know how to do it, and that's all they needed her for. So they let her go. So I was so mad at the mother. I was like, how can you do this to your child? So she explained to me. She said the reason is because when she was growing up, she felt like she was used. She felt like she was slaved. You know, her parent made her do everything at home. So she felt it wasn't fair to her. So she felt so bad about it. She did not want to feel, she didn't like the way she felt. So she doesn't want her child to feel that way. I'm talking about the opposite. Opposite thing. This is what I'm telling you, that the things that we are learned from back home, we are supposed to teach it to our children so that they can stand on their own feet, their 2 feet. But this mother, she did not want to make her child feel the way she felt when they were asking her to do chores at home. And I'm like, do you know that the things that you are able to do, your mother made you do, is the reason why you are standing on your 2 feet today? So why would you deny that from your child? So because of that, she's hurting her child. Now her child doesn't know how to wash dishes. He doesn't know how to cook. So her husband will be cooking for her. She doesn't know how to do anything. She's been doing everything to her child, for her child. And she's a grown woman now. How is she going to take care of a husband? How is she going to take care of her children? How is that going to happen? You see what I'm talking about? So we really have to, the education that we have from back home, it is a golden, it's something of riches that we cannot take it away from our children. We have to impress it. Remember the verse that we have to impress that into our children. Because she did not do that, now her child, her daughter, is going to suffer because she did not pass on the what she had that made her strong. That was the reason why when her husband left her, she was able to survive. All of this, she did not put this survival gears into her child. Now her child is going to survive. She's going to suffer. She took it away from her child. Not knowing that if you do that, she's actually helping her child. Everything that she's been through as a young lady, it was helping her because that's how she was able to survive. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to use that example to let you know that that's why we cannot deny our children of this legacy that we got from back home. We have to impress it into our young ladies and our young men so that when they grow up, they can stand on their own feet. All right. So I want to hear from you again. Let me know of your thought. Let me know what you're thinking. If you're watching me and you want me to translate something in a way, let me know. I can try to do that. But I want you guys to stay safe. I want you to stand on there. I want to, just remind you, we're going to take a quick break, remind you of what is going on. One of the activities going to be happening in Siena. I just want to play that and take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Siena, oh Siena. Yo, madakuku medogo na Siena manola kata anyami anovi agoti ya umaona yile mopomna anyakure nufofu abemado pejina mibe Lucian Sogbe moho bisavo tam mele emoji bonalo nyajogo le Dallas lo maone irani lena fa America ebena bobo yewonya lena fa America
Agoti fafa habobo yenye siana. No visi lele habobo yenye siana.
Maximize your convention experience at Dallas 2025 by unlocking history and innovation that suits all ages. Join us for an unforgettable experience as we tour U.S. Currency Engraving Site and the Museum of Science and Technology, all at $60 per person. Make the most of your time in Dallas by visiting two of the most fascinating destinations in North Texas. Step behind the scenes and witness the intricate process of currency engraving, where history meets art. Explore how bills and coins are designed, engraved, and perfected by expert artisans. It's a rare opportunity to see the craftsmanship that goes into the money we use every day. Fort Worth is a cornerstone of America's financial legacy and is one of only 2 U.S. locations producing paper currency. Just around the corner, dive into the world of innovation and discovery at Fort Worth's Museum of Science and Technology. From hands-on exhibits to inspiring displays, the museum is a must-visit for curious minds of all ages. Don't miss out on this chance to explore both the artistry of currency and the wonders of science. Add the $60 tour to your registration package for a comprehensive convention experience. Register today.
Thank you very much for coming back. We are right back. Thank you for coming back to Africulture right here on Siana TV and Chatting Wonoko at the same time. I thank you for joining us. If you have not subscribed, do me a favor, subscribe to Siana TV and Chatting Wonoko. Share the link with somebody, invite somebody next time. If you're joining late, I want you to go back and watch this video, from the beginning. I want to remind you, the Siana 2025, you just saw it. Agboti Yao is going to be there. He say he already has his visa. Last year, 2023, when we did a Siana Atlanta 2023, excuse me, we are going to, Agboti was going to come at that time. It didn't work out. So I'm looking forward to him coming this year. So if you have not seen Agboti, you definitely need to come and watch him and see him in action. I remember when he started, Agboti Yao started it. I even remember he came and visited our grandmother at one time because our grandmother and his mother were related. I'm going to have to talk to him when I see him in Dallas, but I remember him coming to our home at one point in Togo. Agboti Yao was there. He's not there anymore, but his songs were, oh my God. Anyway, we're not going to talk about his songs, but I just want you to join us in Dallas, Texas, 2020, Siana 2025, so that, we can watch and see everything in action and see what is going to happen, what he has to offer us. So thank you again for coming back. So today I'm solo today, and I'm talking about children. I'm talking about raising our children in our traditional African tradition. How are we going to, balance, our African tradition and this, this structure, this modern world, everything they're teaching in school. So it is very, very important. And I really, really encourage you guys to let me know where you're joining from. Let me know of your thoughts, and let me know of your questions. And I also want you, if you coming in late, I do want you to watch the video from beginning. Okay, so I thank you very much. If you're online and you want me to translate something in a way, let me know. If you don't understand something you want me to explain, let me know. But let me know what you think about this conversation that we are having today. It's very important that we keep this as, interactive. Okay, so my next part is, so we talk about our children. So we want to talk about the role of our African wives, African wives in modern world today. Let me give you an example. Somebody, a friend of mine, he's the one who's the breadwinner at home, but he's the one who's going to come back home and cook. He has a wife. The wife is at home, but he's the one cooking. He's the one, he want to eat certain food. He's the one making all of this. And this is the one thing that he's doing everything. He's paying the bills, he's doing everything. And then there's that's one example. And then on other examples, we have wives, African wives at home, when when they're fighting, when they're fighting or they have an issue between, they don't cook, they don't take care of the house. So it's like you're taking a break. It's like you're not going to do anything. That is one of the things. And then the cooking becomes an issue. The cleaning becomes an issue. The taking care of children is becoming an issue. So you men out there, you are complaining that your children, your wives have become Americanized. The worst part of America, I don't even know if you're going to call it Americanized. If you guys have a word for it, let me know. Your wives have become beyond Americanized. They don't want to cook. They don't want to take care of the house. They don't want to do the wife's duty. And I've seen it in my own, relationships, right? I've seen it with the people that I know. And these are conversations that I have outside, right? I have offline. But I just want to remember, for us to remember, if you're watching me, ladies, I am not hating on you. Or I'm trying to just remind us of our African tradition, because I know we are not in Africa. We are in America. We are in Europe. We are abroad. And life is not the same. And when we are living here, you have to work. You have to take care of your children. We all have to do the same thing. So your husband, if he knows how to cook, he should cook. If he knows how to do certain things, he should do it to help you. Because this life in America is not easy. It's very, very difficult. So I get all of that. I'm just talking about generally. Generally, when we are women, we are taught, when I was getting raised, when I was raised to be a good mother and a good wife. That's how we are raised back home. As a child, as a young girl, you are raised to be a good mother, because normally back home, back then, the one important thing that our mothers want to teach us is how to be a good wife and good mother. That's what they care about, even before they even think about school. So that's because that's how they were raised. So we are raised to be a good wives and be a good, mothers. So when we come abroad, I don't think we should forget about that. I think that is a really important trait that we should use that to make it different, to make it look different than everybody else, every other woman, every other race. So I just want to remind us, if you are never taught to cook, never taught to clean up. Okay, I understand that. But if you have the trade back home, you have the education to do what you are supposed to do as a mother, as a wife, and then you are here no matter where you are living and you have a husband, I think we should share that. We should use what we are raised, what we were embedded into us. We should use our education. We should use the way we're supposed to help. I'm not saying slave yourself. Guys, husbands, I'm not saying you should expect us to slave ourselves for you, but we should use that, the respect, respecting our husbands, cooking for them, taking care of our children. That should be our job. And then we want to encourage the husbands to help. You know what I mean? The husbands to help. You are not expecting your wife to be doing everything. You're going to help. But our wives, we as a wife, we need to hold our position. We need to hold what we are supposed to do. We need to do what we are supposed to do. So, we are the role of the African wives, the wife as a, nurturer. We are nurturer. We are teacher. We are culture pillar. We are traditional skills and trades. We cook. We do craft. We are home managers. We manage home. We have the respect. We are submissive, I should say. And we have the strength in African, and all of this is a strength in African marriage. So we are the one encouraging, pride. I really want to encourage, pride in womanhood and heritage of African women. I want to encourage that very much. I want us to be able to still show what our mothers taught us, if your husband, I'm just saying, ladies, I am not hating. I'm a mother. I'm a woman too. So I am talking to myself too. So if you're fighting with your husband, he did something you were mad about at him. I mean, you still have to do your wife duties. Unfortunately, it doesn't separate. It doesn't excuse you from being a wife. You still have to cook for him to eat. Because when I was growing up, no matter what is going on, our mothers, they still have to cook for the husband to eat. They still have to clean. They still have to respect them. They still have to call them, by respect. Efo, esronye. Even if they are upset, they still have to do that. So, ladies, even when you are upset at your husband, don't throw away your African, your African traits that you have, the respect, the culture, the education that you have from home. Don't throw it away. Still use it. Still cook for them. Still do, because that's your duty. That is your responsibility. And husbands, when your wife is doing all of that, you have to help. You have to help. You have to see how much she's juggling, and you have to be there. So if you know how to cook, do it. Help her. But I just want us as a women, I don't want our husbands to be complaining about how we don't know how to cook. We're not taking care of them, because that's what pushing them outside. It shouldn't push them outside, because you're supposed to stay, because when you marry, it's for better and for worse, right? But we're supposed to be able to cook to our husbands, even when we're upset at them. Even if when they did something to make us mad, we still have to cook. You still have to clean. You still have to be the wife that you are meant to be. You still have to carry on your African traits, your African culture, the tradition, the teaching, the education that your parents has poured in you, embedded in you. You still have to use it as a wife. So we don't want, our husband to be complaining and to be comparing us. We still want to hold our tradition true. We still have to do what we are trained, the way we are trained. And we just want the husbands to help. And I know some relationship or some marriage, the husband, because the wife is the one working more than the husband. I get that. There's a balance. There's a balance, but we still have to give our husband, their respect. Our husbands still have to keep their role. As wife, we still have to keep our roles. Our husband's supposed to keep their roles. We can't separate it. We can't mix it together. We still need to know the role, our role as wives. We have to carry our African culture. We cannot lose our African culture as wives, as parents. We cannot lose it. We have to keep it true. And we can't, just because we live in abroad, it doesn't change anything. We are still, our trade are still, our roots are still there. That's how we're going to pass it on to our children, because they see how we are doing it. That's how we teach it to our young ladies and our young, even our young men are learning from us as mothers. Okay. So it is very, very important. And I just want to encourage pride in our womanhood and heritage. We have to keep our African heritage. We have to be different than anybody else, because we are different than anybody else. Our education is different than anybody else. All right. So don't refuse to cook just because your husband made you mad or they didn't buy you something. Don't refuse to cook or clean. Just still do your wife duty. All right. So of course I have to support this with Bible verse, right? Bible verse I want to use today is Proverbs 31:10. It says the virtue women. It says the virtue women strong. The virtue of a woman, I think that's what it's trying to say. Strong, wise, industrial, and respected. All right. The virtue woman is strong, wise, industrial, and respected. We have to keep that in mind. And Titus 2:3 says, teach the younger women to love their husband, and children to be self-controlled and pure, to be busy at home. I was trying to see how I can say this. To be busy at home, I was going to twist it somehow. So Titus, those of you if you're watching me, I want you to read Titus, the book of Titus 2:3. It says, teach the younger women to love their husbands, and children to be self-controlled and pure, to be busy at home. It said, They want us to be busy at home, meaning we need to clean, we need to cook, we need to support our husbands. We need to make sure we don't take our husband titles away from them. We need to be busy at home, meaning we need to be working at home. We need to be working at home. All right. So the last but not least, Ephesians 5:22, it said, wife, submit yourself to your own husband as they do to the Lord. They do to the Lord. All right. So I have to support these biblical. I have to use biblical verses to support this. So it is said, we women, we're supposed to be busy. That means we're supposed to be working. We're supposed to take the role of wifehood, womanhood. I say wifehood. Wife, as a woman, African wives, we have to be different than any other woman. We have to show the way we can cook, we can clean, we can take care of our husband. We can do all of that, even if we are busy. I know we are busy, but we don't want to take that away. We don't want to just ignore what we have. We will learn. Our mothers and aunties have trained us, what they have taught us. We don't want to lose it. We still want to show our husband respect. Even if you are making more money than they are, we still need to, their role does not change as a husband. They're still the head of the household. So we still need to be the wives that we are supposed to be. So like I said, I'm going to repeat it again. Just because your husband make you upset does not mean you cannot cook for him. You still cook for him because you're still the wife and he's still the husband. No matter what he did, you still go forgive him. And then after he eats, you guys can do whatever. You know how after they're full, you give them whatever they want. After they're full, they can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? So we need to cook. If you're taught to cook, you know how to cook for your husband. It is something, special about wives cooking for their husband and taking care of their children and do what they're supposed to do. Even the Bible says it. I just read these verses for you. Even the word of God says it. So I just want us to keep our children, our African, foundation. How do we keep our African foundation even abroad? How can we still be, these strong, strong women, strong mothers, with all these wisdom, all these traits that we have learned, all these roots that we have from our ancestors, our mothers and grandmothers, we are still showing it here. How do we do that? We need to talk about it. We need to remind ourselves and we need to keep it on. That's the way that we can embed it into our children. All right. So I still have not seen anything from you. I do know. Let me check and see who that I heard from. Justin, I don't know if you're still on. Justin, merci, Justin from Canada. Thank you for joining me. And then I have Wise Mensa. Kwame, you were saying that language has a hidden wisdom. It does. So I only have 2 comments so far. So I don't know if you guys know where the comment is, but if you have any comments, let me know. If you disagree, you have any concerns, let me know. You have any questions, let me know. But, today I really just want us to really focus on, our children, our tradition, and also focus on our wives. So really what I wanted to do, I wanted to make sure that we don't lose this because it's very, very important. How are we? The main question is, how are we balancing for our children? How are we balancing tradition with this modern education that our children are going through? How are we managing that? How are we going to balance that? How are we going to teach our children? Are we teaching our children respect? Are we teaching them community values? Their own identity, the role of elders, our language, their names, the power in their names, and culture, culture practices. Are we teaching our children that? Those are the things that I touch on today. But the main thing is, are we, balancing tradition with this modern education that our children are being, taught at school? Are we keeping that? And obviously, the next part is for our wives. As a wife, the role of an African wife is a nurturer, is a teacher, is a cultural pillar. We are the traditional skills and trades and cooking and craft and home managing, the respect, the submissive, strength and African marriage. All of this is like, It encourages pride in womanhood and heritage, in our African heritage. So I want you, the verses I want you to dwell on is Proverbs 22, 6, Deuteronomy 6, 6, and Ephesians 6, 4. That was for our children, to support our children. And for the wives, it is Proverbs 31, 10. And then Titus 1 is very, very interesting. Titus 1, Titus 2, 3. I want you guys to read it. And Ephesians 5:22. The Titus 1, I just want to read it again. It says, teach the younger women to love their husbands and children to be self-controlled and pure, to be busy at home. I just love when I read that. I just love it. To be busy at home. So that's the thing. That's what it is. So all these biblical align with our African value, our wives as a helper and homemakers. I'm not saying, I know it is 2025, our husbands, wives are being, CEOs and big and I'm doing all of this. I get it. But at the same time, we are still wives. It doesn't take, even if you're president of the United States, even if you're president of a country, you are still a wife. And you have a husband, you are still a wife. And your wife's duty, the presidency should not take your wife's duty away from you. That's what I'm trying to say. No matter how much rich we are, no matter which country we go to, no matter how far we go, no matter how much money we have, no matter how short our husbands are, or no matter how poor our husbands are, we are still, doesn't take away what we are learned, what we are trained, what we were taught as wives from our mothers and our ancestors, our grandmothers. Doesn't take away our motherhood or wifehood. It doesn't take that away. So even if you're president, you're a woman president and a mother and a wife, doesn't take away your duty as a wife. You still should cook to your husband. You still should attend to your husband. You still should respect your husband. That's how I believe. We still cannot lose, the teaching, the upbringing that we got from home. We cannot let it die away. We cannot just say, I live in America, so it doesn't apply. No, it still applies. There's a reason why you are from Africa. There's a reason why you are taught these. And there's a reason why you are living in America today. Or Europe today. So it doesn't take away our respect. It doesn't take away our strength. It doesn't take away any of that. So I just want to encourage all of us that let us still hold our African heritage. Do not lose it. As children, we don't want to let our children lose it because not have it to begin with. So we want to embed this into our children. And we as wives, no matter what, we need to do our wife's duty. We need to be the wife we are supposed to be. No matter how busy we are, just remember that you are a wife and you have this trade, you have this teaching, you have these things that you're supposed to, you have a role to play. Your husband have a role to play, and you as a wife, you have a role to play. I'm going to focus on the husbands later, focus really on the husbands on another show, on another session. But today, as a husband, we don't want to take our husbands' roles away from us. From them. They still are our husband, no matter how they look, no matter where they come from, no matter what the gap is, whether, you are up here and they are here, it doesn't matter. We cannot take their role away from them. We still need to respect them. You need to feed them. We need to do what we're supposed to do as African wives. Even if you're married to someone who is not an African, your husband is not African, you need to show your husband the trade, the African, heritage, the African trade that you have to your husband. That way he will even appreciate, even Africans, even, better. He'll appreciate, your heritage, where you come from. Anyway, so that's what I have for us today. So I invite you all, if you have not watched this from the beginning, I want you to please watch this from the beginning. And I want you to put comments. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think. I want you to know what your thought. If you disagree, you have anything else to add, I want you to share it with me. I want you to share the link with anyone. And I want you to subscribe to the channel. If you have not subscribed to AfriCulture Chatting with Nicole. If you have not, please share the videos. That's the only way that we can get this going. But I want to see who else is online. I see somebody else. It was Justin. Okay, Justin is online. But, I thank you guys for watching. Remember, Siana 2025. It is a Labor Day weekend. You don't want to miss it. It's in Dallas. Make sure that you join us. I want you to subscribe to the channel. Again, I can't say this enough. I want you to subscribe to the channel, share the videos if you have not already, and also let me know what your thoughts are, right? So I want you to stay safe and blessed. So remember, we cannot allow our children. We need to balance. We need to balance our children. We need to find a way. We have to find a way to balance what is going on in our children's life today. We need to make sure that we can balance tradition with modern education today. We need to embed our children, our education, our African culture, our African heritage foundation in our children. They cannot lose it. And we need to, to encourage our mothers, wives, the pride in our womanhood, in our African heritage. We cannot lose it. We cannot lose it. So I want to leave you here. I'm going to play one of the commercials for Siana 2025, but I'm going to leave it here. I want you to join us next Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. GMT, right here on Siana TV and Chatting with Nicole. It is Africa. It is Africulture. But until Sunday, I want you all to stay safe and blessed, and I will see you on the next one, next Sunday.
Dallas Club Google Papa pour avoir toya me class saga for my father il have boy you den kona Cancers of Airway Association of North America ogo eyi me ko beleji ni toya Davis abina se a do joji pledge to papa bedi di mama fito fina e chopo ya me top wana to ke yo gbona ji yigla zama won na ye eyi onya ni manya fi tutu ma jago me twe ne ota adokuma lene popli ba iganya nkaka neza gladiade ke yo yoga fun club nya denu dudu vovovo a de kon nu vovovo ha jiga dudu kla kachacha kla ma bubu to ke a pa kla wana ma bo vovovo a we jerodo ya ji komie no ko kla for Lawrence daga du ha ka popo ne ba leke o ga fia nglon ko ne fo ya ma pa vava ha ama dong ne ba le bobo da le gbegbe mi ato kwenye ba mi avwa gbodo ji to www.dallasairways.org ji hena nko ngolo he dodo da ma ji bubu o ho la fi ma ika won na te wa chia fa kana nya jefa alo mlo pe ha wo fa ha to chawo klon fa dodo ho la fi ma ina chia fa kana nya zoro dodo ya o ji boko a jefa alo hotel on top boga chia ka klon to email ji hena dodo susu wo anya me pa wu jerodo ya nkle for Lawrence da ka du ha fi da mo si pa ka popo ha gare me rekla ba bia ya ba nya te pe o nya ba ne nya nglon ko hena vava ko ke jenen dingu du fa ma here a fi ma de me ba ma kwa la mi ha fi he nya te pa tutu tue o nya ai da dia nya do le ka via me kwa kama na na mi akata mi nya ba mi ato bi hena nko ngolo ka ba he amina na ma de nya te pa ton to agbo na mi fofo ma no mi to e ba nglon ko ka ba o enule susu ya o na nya kwa ma joro je fa ya kwa ndindu du fa ma ke ali no fa akanya nyi bubu ika gala ma joro je fa ya nha nya never atewa mlo nyi fa ba do jojo we have na ifa ha la amia to bra o ami va ni mi adu pa ya ma sia na zala chododo ma bo vovovo o me he akpa na mi
Yawe mi kona kwagama to